Most men nowadays are stuck in a vicious cycle, whether you call it the matrix or the rat race or whatever you want to call it, where you're waking up, going to work maybe, going back to the gym, and then going to sleep and repeating. And no matter how many self-improvement videos you watch, no matter how many books, auto books you read, you just can't seem to break through to the other side and manifest what you truly desire. And that is for a particular reason, which is you are thinking and trapped and confined into just the three-dimensional realm of reality. You see, everything around us is 99.999% empty space. Okay, and if people believe in things as Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, which is just invisible frequencies and signals, and if you can manage to comprehend that, or when you literally just pick up your phone and call someone, you don't even think twice about it. But as soon as someone starts talking about vibration, frequency, energy, consciousness, then that's just somehow some magic woo-woo stuff. But if you truly want to break through your habit, your old frequency, I'm designing this video specifically just for people who don't really understand. I realize that some of my older videos, I was already jumping ahead too complex, so this video is going to be a very, very basic level of understanding so that you have the foundation to understand how to truly change your life. I'm not going to talk about, what food to eat and what habits and all that, but after this video you should have absolute certainty, determination, and clarity, and your perception on the world should be completely and utterly different. So the first foundational principle that I need you to understand is that no matter what, everything is energy. Okay, so if you look around you, you look at the table, you look at your car, your clothes that you're wearing, every fabric of everything that you see is just energy, is just at a subatomic level. When you zoom in, if you have a table, it appears hard and solid and you knock on it. But if you were to zoom in to what the human eye cannot see, all you would see is tiny little particles floating around, okay? So if we look at an atom, everything is atoms. You got taught this in school. So I'm going to draw a little diagram. So you got your protons in the middle, the nucleus, and then you have your electrons, which are floating and orbiting around. So in the same way that every physical thing around you is made up of atoms, protons, electrons, neutrons, like you learned in 3rd grade, then you can realize that your thoughts, your emotions aren't just invisible fluff. Going back to the analogy we made about Wi-Fi, about just electromagnetic signals, your thoughts and your brain waves and emotions are all measurable in electromagnetic waves. An EEG measures your brain waves. An EKG measures your heart waves. And so at the most basic fundamental level, you can begin to understand that if everything is energy, then that means nothing is fixed. Your current state of reality is not fixed. Everything can change. So if you can learn how to shift your energy from a low vibrational state to a higher vibrational state, then in turn your physical reality will begin to change and manifest. So the second fundamental principle I want you guys to realize, or the big question I should say, is what the hell even is frequency? So the definition of frequency is how fast or slow something vibrates, the rate. And so If you think about it like tuning into a radio station, again with the signals that you can't see that are invisible. If you want to listen to hip hop or rap and you're tuned into a country station, then it's not going to work, right? And so it's the same thing with your life. If you are tuned into low quality thoughts, low quality emotions, reactions, perceptions, expectations, and so forth, then you're not going to tune into that reality that you want. If you have this reality in mind of all these TikTok videos you see of, the luxury lifestyle, or the cars and the watches and the beautiful women, whatever it may be, if you're tuned in to a low frequency, low vibrational state, and your thoughts are low quality, then you are never going to get there. So for the sake of understanding, frequency equals your personal tuning. So I'm going to give you a real world example. If there's one guy, we'll label him Jim. If Jim is always tuned into the frequency of the victim mindset, the victim mentality, the reality that the world affects him, that he is not in control of his reality and everything just doesn't fall his way, well, guess what? He's going to attract the scarcity. He's going to attract drama and problems, and his life is probably going to be all out of whack. And that is because simply that is what he is focused on. Because where attention goes, energy flows. But guy B, Chad we'll call him, is tuned into the abundance frequency. He attracts opportunities, wealth, good luck, and opens tons of doors. And I want you to think about this as you control your thoughts. Your thoughts don't control you, and once you can understand that you are the master and you can create whatever thoughts you want, catch the negative thoughts, and start to think better. So in plain English, all that your frequency is, or your so-called old frequency, which is the point of this video, is to outsmart your old frequency, is your current beliefs you hold, the conviction at which you believe your beliefs at the self and the core, your emotional patterns you go through on a daily basis, because remember, emotions lead to action, which drives your decisions, and your identity, what you identify with. So like we said with the two people examples, if you identify with being poor, or you identify with scarcity or a victim, that everything happens to you and you don't control your reality, then in turn the universe is going to show that. When you are stuck in negative thought patterns and emotions, it's going to lead you to more decisions and self-sabotaging. That's why they say the poor get poorer and the rich get richer. It's because the rich are tuned into a high frequency and the poor are tuned into a low frequency of thoughts, quality of emotions, and their identity. And the reason why 99% of you cannot change or cannot see change is because that old version of you actually wants to keep you where you're at. It'll do this by pulling you back into your old habits. It's subconscious and you don't realize it, and it's very hard and tricky. This is why most people never break through, but it is because this frequency wants to. The universe wants to pull you back into your old habits, your old patterns, and so you have to consciously be aware of your thoughts, almost like you're in a video game and you're three-dimensionally looking at it, like you are outside of your body and observing like you're in a movie or a video game. Being conscious and aware of what you are actually thinking and your emotions on a daily basis, and this takes time, and you gym bros know what I'm saying. It's the same thing with the gym, although it is much harder, of putting in the reps of consciously catching yourself. Okay, what are my thoughts like on a daily basis? What am I thinking right now even? What are my emotions? How do I feel? And then how does that drive me to act? Back when I was in college, I would be feeling stuck, feeling like, oh, well, I'm comfortable here, I can party, and I wish I could have a different life, but my parents want me to stay here in college. And I would wake up at 5 p.m. My thoughts would tell me, I don't have the power to change. I don't have any strength. I don't have any vision. So then my emotions would then lead me to the most comfortable subconscious decision to go downstairs, grab a Red Bull, go back upstairs and play video games, because I didn't know what else to do. And my emotion wanted that comfort. It was seeking that comfort. to just do nothing. So bottom line with frequency is that you cannot attract or manifest high quality results in the physical realm if you look inwards and you have low quality thoughts all of the time. Okay, it is as within, as without. Everything around you, your current reality, is only a reflection of what is inside of you. Like I said, your beliefs, your identity, your emotions, your thoughts, all of the invisible stuff that we can't see on the just purely the physical realm. And so the next question is, what is vibration? So like we said with the atoms before, your vibration, the definition is basically just the quality of your energy. It's what people feel when they're around you. So if you look at someone who wakes up late, scrolls TikTok, plays video games, gambles, doesn't take care of themselves, poor hygiene, not working towards any sort of self-improvement, they're going to have a very low frequency. They're going to have insecurities. They're not going to feel good about themselves, and they're more than likely stuck on just the physical plane of existence, because remember, there are 3 planes to existence of what we call life. It is quite literally the basic one that everyone's stuck at is the physical realm, which is everything we can see around us. Then there's the mental realm, your thoughts, your emotions, what's going on in your brain. But then there's also the spiritual plane. And in Buddhism, they call this enlightenment or nirvana. Psychologists call it self-actualization. But the bottom line is you need to work towards increasing your vibrational state daily. And so how do you do this? If you look at this ladder, low vibrational thoughts are going to keep you at guilt, fear, scarcity. So basically, on one hand, we have one person who is waking up late, scrolling TikTok, doubting themselves, doubting that they can change or that they can find a new path in life. But on the other hand, we have someone who thinks more lightheartedly, that the universe takes care of me, everything happens for a reason, placing faith in God. And with the same example, waking up early, doing a gratitude list, making time to do nothing, making time to pray to God, sit alone with your thoughts. Most people think you need to shout commands or talk out loud to some figure up in the sky, some God, but it's not like that at all. You actually literally only need silence. No distractions. Most people are constantly stimulated, but if you remove that stimulation, you sit with just your thoughts. Think about you're in prison, you're in jail, and you just sit there with your thoughts. That's all you can do. Do that, have that stillness, and it opens up room to have higher vibrations. And people can tell this is your aura, the whole aura trend or meme. It is a real thing. Everyone has an invisible electromagnetic field of energy, and people can tell. It's the same way that females can tell if you are someone who watches porn or you're obviously at a low vibrational state. But if you are waking up early, you're working on yourself, you're working on your business, you're hitting the gym hard, you're disciplined, you have all of these traits that lead to higher vibrational. So focus on the present moment. Don't be a complainer or have any of these negative emotions. And once you start having that G mindset of I'm capable, I'm competent, I'm going to make whatever I want happen, stop getting sucked into the old frequency that is literally demanding you to stay where you're at. All of those thoughts you get, those negative thoughts, are quite literally just the devil or whatever you want to call it that is coming in and telling you, no, you can't change. Just scroll one more time. Come on. You're not capable of anything great because you were born into poverty, or you were born into scarcity, you must continue to live this way. But it's not like that at all. An easier way to grasp this is think about two songs. One very depressing song and one song that you love that is a static summer boat with your family type of song. They're both music, they're both sounds, but they're carrying different vibrations. That is the same thing with your emotionally charged thoughts, or the vibration that you are giving off, your song, so to speak. Okay, and this might be one of the most important ones. What is consciousness? I talk about this a lot of time in my videos, but I never really broke it down. Consciousness, all that it is at the end of the day, is being aware of your thoughts, being aware of the self. Okay, most people go day to day on autopilot, like I said. And for me, I don't know if this is a really good analogy, but if you've ever smoked weed, you probably know what I'm talking about, where you almost feel like you're watching yourself and you become hyper aware of your thoughts. You become hyper aware of your emotions, your reactions. You reflect and analyze a lot, right? And now I'm not saying to smoke weed, because I don't do that either. I quit that a long time ago. That was a part of my old frequency, keeping me stuck. Yeah, basically, consciousness is the ability to catch your thoughts, realize, analyze, and reflect on everything that's going on in your head. Like I said, the analogy with the weed, when you're super high and you're tweaking out and you're like thinking about what you're about to say before you say it and thinking about all the combinations. It's quite literally like that. Or if you're playing Call of Duty and your first person point of view, you're running around, running, gunning, and consciousness is basically being able to zoom out and just look at the whole map as a whole. Like, this team's here, they're going here, flanking. That's like your consciousness. Okay, another example I would give is, let's say you're playing Call of Duty and you get pissed off and instantly you react and you throw your emote, you start punching the wall. I used to do this all the time, get pissed. I broke my big flat screen TV. But consciousness, now what consciousness is instead of that, being able to catch yourself, be like, wait a minute, I'm feeling this anger, I'm sitting with this anger and I'm feeling it. I'm going to take a deep breath and choose to respond differently. Okay? So this is you, your inner thoughts and your inner feelings. And your consciousness is your ability to so the big thing I need you to understand about consciousness is that 95% of your daily habits and your actions, your thoughts, even your emotions are 95% subconscious. This could be childhood programming from development as a child, your certain thought patterns and tendencies, and once you can actually reflect and analyze it and remove stimulation, you'll start to be hyper aware of everything you do and why. And why this matters is because once you have the ability to catch yourself down to the thought wave or the emotion, then you start to take action differently. You start to think differently. You start to believe in yourself, curate and cultivate that self-mastery, telling yourself you are the master. You are hold on, wait a minute. This is my life. This is my reality. I can do whatever I want. You're no longer subscribed to the autopilot, to the robot living. Now you can just decide what you need to do and why. And now I can't tell you what your calling is in life, but you need to sit with God, ask God what He wants you to do, and then you'll find out exactly what it is you want to do with your life. A good example for me personally is that, it was my childhood conditioning, and it was the thoughts that were placed upon me from my grandparents, my parents, my whole family, that I had to go to college, I had to get a job, I had to live this normal lifestyle. And that's what I was conditioned into believing. And when I was at college, I was realizing I was going down a very hedonistic, slippery slope, and it wasn't for me. And I started to catch my thoughts and realize this is just a self-sabotaging cycle. I don't want to end up like any of these people around me. I have my own calling. And so when I sat with God and I would ask Him, and I developed that relationship during college, during the hardest part in my life, I realized that what I want to do is I want to help people. I have a lot of knowledge and I read a lot of books, and my passion is number one, God, and number two, teaching other people and helping change other people's lives, which is why I started my own coaching mentorship, and I'm doing these videos because it truly fulfills me, helping other people. So I know what you're probably wondering. How does any of what I talked about apply to me? And I'll get there. So what you have to realize is that the definition of manifestation is nothing more than reality mirroring back your internal state, as within, as without, as above, so below, right? So it is your current reality, whatever reality you exist in, as of this moment, is nothing more than a reflection of your frequency, your vibration, and your consciousness. Those three key things that I covered in this video. So if you can work towards improving each and every sector that I just covered, then you will slowly start to transform your inner first, and then as a byproduct, reality will change. Remember that manifestation is not creating anything. You're not creating a whole new reality. You're revealing what already exists within you. This is talked about in religion, and all religion is history and analogies for what I'm talking about, for these teachings that these very enlightened people were talking about, like Christ. So remember, this is the flow chart. Starts with your thoughts. This is as simple as I can make it. Starts with your thoughts, to an emotion, and once you can understand this, guys, you can quite literally, can reveal whatever it is that you want. So your thoughts in your head, everything starts with your thoughts, which leads you to an emotionally charged thought, which is a more energetic version of that thought when you tie an emotion into it, which then leads you to action. To actually take physical action in the physical realm, like we talked about. It started in the mental plane, and then it comes out in physical reality. You have a desire in your head that you want to date this girl. And then you really emotionally, you're getting into it, you're feeling about what would that feel like? I have this feeling of love towards this girl. So then you take the action, and you DM the girl. You go ask her out on a date. You show her that you care about her, whatever it is. And then it goes back to reality. Remember, it's just a mirror of your frequency, your vibration, and your consciousness. So once you master those, this is your feedback loop that you're continuously living on. And it can either be poor quality thoughts, poor vibration, poor frequency, to poor emotions as guilt, shame, doubt, fear, lack, any of these negatively connotated emotions, which then drives you to a low action of doom scrolling or hedonistic or drinking or just wasting time. And remember, God only rewards those who truly try, right? He's not going to reward you if you are constantly sabotaging yourself. Why would you allow your own brain to sabotage yourself and let you be in this cycle that you hate so much, right? So, but if you are able to tell yourself only good thoughts, I'm a G, I'm going to succeed. I put my pure faith in Christ, because all faith is just trusting the process, that everything will work out just as it is supposed to, no matter what. It'll all work out in the end, right? And fear is the inverse. All fear is, and my client was telling me this actually, he had a good acronym, is fear is false evidence appearing real, which is true. Stop looking for evidence on your daily basis. It's going to take time to physically manifest, but you're obsessed over the wrong thing, okay? Get obsessed with the process. Get obsessed with your thinking, your emotions, and you're just raising your vibrations. But fear is faith in reverse. Fear is quite literally putting your trust and your faith into it's not going to work out. No matter what, it's not going to work out. No, not me. Okay, why would you allow yourself to do that? So an example is, a thought is, oh, I'll never succeed, I'll never make it. And then the emotion is you're feeling stressed and insecure, which drives you to the action of not taking any risk, of sitting in your bed like a bum, which then is your reality. You're just reflecting and mirroring back all the thoughts you are. You see how this all works? Okay, but if you think, I am successful, not I will be, or, but I am successful already. It's already happened. I'm already successful because I'm already in this plane of existence, even if my physical realm doesn't provide me evidence, right? And then your emotion, you're going to feel hyped up, charged, energetic, highly vibrational, take you the action. You're a risk taker. You are consistent, disciplined, which will mirror back to your reality. All that money is just time and energy of other people. And the more valuable you are, the more output you put out, the more you attract that abundance of time and energy of other people, right? So your subconscious doesn't care if a thought is true or false. It can't tell the difference between if something's real or if it's not real. It only cares what it is constantly being told in the feedback loop, and then it's going to mirror that back out. So whether you realize it or not, you're constantly manifesting, either for the better or for the worse. But the goal here is to take control of it, to sort of align you with where you want to be and your goals and your vision. I need you to carry yourself differently after watching this video. Carry yourself differently. Go through your day-to-day life as if you've already became what you want to be. If your goal is to be a millionaire, okay, what is that millionaire version of yourself doing? Do that. It's already happened. Align with that. Tell yourself. This is why you see all these manifestation videos and you're like, well, I can't do that. I can't already pretend. You quite literally can. You quite literally can trick your brain, okay? We're not just flesh and bones. We're energy, vibration, and frequencies. This is why most men are stuck in loops, autopilot, robots. But once you tap into your consciousness and your true potential, you stop chasing and you start attracting, right? The law of attraction. And this is exactly what I teach in my mentorship. I don't just give you a workout plan. I upgrade your frequency, your vibration, and your manifestations. I will help you manifest that alpha physique, that alpha mindset, that G way of living lifestyle you know you're capable of. So if you're ready to stop thinking like a human and start thinking like the universe, the link is below.